Do you ever find yourself saying yes when you want to or should say no? Recently, someone asked me to do a favor for her, and I didn't want to, but I was too uncomfortable saying no. But the favor took way more time than I had planned for, and as a result, I didn't have enough time to do the other responsibilities I had committed to. Also, several years back, a graduate student asked me if I thought she would make a good counselor. I knew her gifts weren't strongest in that area, but I didn't really want to hurt her feelings. So she left our conversation believing I thought she was capable. We all do it. We want to be nice, so we accommodate another person's wants or needs or desires or wishes. We're not really honest with how we feel because we don't want to upset anyone. But let's take a look at the high cost of being too nice. First, we hurt people. It amazes me how unaware we are of how we injure other people by being too nice to them. I mean, isn't that why we're too nice to begin with? We don't want to hurt people. But when I wasn't completely honest with my intern, I unintentionally hurt her because she spent time and energy and money pursuing a career that didn't reflect her true gifting. In another example, Lydia worked hard to be this Proverbs 31 wife and mother. But the more she gave, the more her husband and children took with little concern or even awareness of Lydia or her needs. Lydia became exhausted caring for everyone with no one giving back to her. And over time, Lydia's niceness enabled her family to become more and more self-centered, self-absorbed, and selfish. Lydia didn't mean to, but she weakened her husband and her children by not inviting them into a more reciprocal relationship. Here's a second way we wound people by being too nice. Debbie was a brand new believer who attended Nancy's Bible study at church. And so Debbie began calling Nancy at home, asking questions or wanting to talk something through. Debbie always took Nancy's calls, but soon grew weary. She didn't want to discourage a new friend, but found her neediness overwhelming. But instead of being more honest with Debbie and setting better schedule for phone calls, Nancy started using her caller ID to screen Debbie's calls. But eventually Debbie caught on and felt hurt and abandoned. Nancy's niceness gave Debbie the impression that she was always available, anytime, night or day. When you or I are too nice to people and fail to set good boundaries, we may not mean to, but we hurt people. The only person who can always be available without getting crabby or tired is God. So don't try to do his job. You'll fail every time and the other person will get hurt. Second, we hurt ourselves by being too nice. There is nothing unbiblical about being wise with who you give yourself to. While in college, Sharon agreed to take a walk through the park with a young man she recently met who was a classmate. She wasn't attracted to him, nor was she very comfortable with going, but she said yes because she didn't want to hurt his feelings by saying, "No, thank you." But during their walk, he sexually assaulted her. Every single day, she deeply regrets that she was too nice. Now, it doesn't have to be a dangerous or suspicious situation for us to learn to simply say, "No, thank you, I can't," or "I don't want to." We all have limited resources of time, energy, and money. And when you allow others to take from your resources with no limits, it's like giving them unrestricted access to your ATM card or your checking account and then feeling angry when you're constantly overdrawn. If giving something to someone hurts you, count the cost. Sometimes it's appropriate to sacrifice yourself for another, and other times it may be foolish. Jesus tells a story about 5 women who refused to share their lamp oil with 5 others who did not bring enough for themselves. And instead of rebuking these women for being stingy, Jesus called them wise stewards. And last, by being too nice, you could miss God's best. Because every day there are endless things and people that clamor for our attention. Oswald Chambers reminds us that the great enemy of the life of faith is the good that is not good enough. Don't allow other people to set your values, your schedule, or your priorities. Many people ask Jesus to do things for them, but Jesus always looked for what God wanted him to do first, even if it meant disappointing other people. When you're too nice and passively accommodate other people, you could very well miss God's best for your life. So let me leave you with 3 steps to help you stop being too nice. First, understand nice isn't one of the fruit of the Spirit. Being kind doesn't mean you always say yes. It means that you learn to say no kindly. Second, before you say yes, stop and say, "Let me think about that. I'll get back to you." This will give you some time to think through whether you are being too nice or you really feel led to do it. Last, let go of guilt. You cannot be all things to all people or do everything people want. Jesus was perfect, and yet he still disappointed people. Let go of nice and stop paying the high price. Share this with a friend if you found it helpful. Take care.